And what I remember most about seeing the Peace Wall is the graffiti that adorns it. It's everywhere. Truly amazing art, most of it, though it's often difficult to understand. On either side of that wall, within the neighborhoods, the graffiti and the murals are not as difficult to understand. It took me a while to realize that the majority of the graffiti on the Palestinian side of the wall is in English, not Arabic.
Graffiti is art and freedom of speech, also used for the gospel message to preach in order to reach the youngest that's lost, to uplift with positive writings on the walls way back in biblical days and biblical times when God wrote on the walls in Daniel 5. What a big surprise for King Belshazzar, to a point he was scared. Yeah, the king of Babylon, who sat on thrones. More biblical graffiti, especially if you read the book of Deuteronomy 11:20 and Habakkuk 2:2. Graffiti gospel spreading the good news on a wall near you, but not promoting vandalism, promoting God's word. Graffiti evangelism, not smoking madism or getting high on paint, but to preach the gospel in so many ways.
What does all this graffiti have to do with our reading from Daniel 5? Well, Daniel 5 involves graffiti of a sort, God's graffiti. I never thought about God being the first graffiti artist, but there it is, right there in the Bible.
Shout out to the gospel graffiti crew, graffiti artists who's spreading the good news. People will view the uplifting message written on the wall that preaches 24/7. Don't be a blind melon, but start believing. Graffiti words on the walls that be preaching and reaching people in so many ways, praying for Jesus Christ to break the chains from spray painting demonic signs in the streets, such as pentagrams, bad words, and negativity, bad energy, especially for the kids, to read nonsense that might confuse within. We gotta think, plus graffiti is art, not to idolize, run to God like Noah's Ark, step out the dark to see in the light. Gospel graffiti is God's word on sight.
Now, God doesn't wait for the cover of secrecy to paint his graffiti. God's graffiti appears right there in the middle of King Belshazzar's big feast. And if walls are publishers of the poor, if graffiti is the language of the least, then God speaks that language.